The first test of Jaws took place, as I wrote in my own book, in Dallas, in a shopping center. And Dick Zanuck and I were extremely nervous. Would the shark get laughs? Everybody knew, read a newspaper, that it was not a real shark. What would happen? And I remember circling around that theater, and we noticed a crowd. Of course, we weren't very subtle with what was put on the marquee. It was something like the biggest fish story you'll ever see, or something very clever that attracted attention. After all, Jaws was a #1 bestseller and had a lot of media attention. And so we went and had a very stiff drink. We went into the theater, and the screams started, and they never stopped. And we were pinching each other. It was incredible.
I thought the whole roof ceiling of the theater was going to collapse because the noise, the shock, and the scream was so loud, and it didn't die down, so that you couldn't literally hear the dialogue for the next, maybe minute, because people were screaming repeatedly, and there was such excitement in the theater. I remember elbowing Mr. Brown, who was sitting next to me, and he was elbowing me back, and he said, "We're in, we did it." We knew with that first scream that it had worked.
When the shark came out of the water, when Roy Scheider was chumming and said, "Why don't you come down, chum some of this shit?" The shark comes out. I had designed, hopefully, a laugh that would turn into a scream. So I used the word shit. I added that line because in those days, back in 1974, the word shit was an easy laugh. Now it's used so much nobody laughs anymore, but then it wasn't used that much. And it instantly got a nervous laugh from audiences, often an embarrassed laugh, and with younger people, kind of a rebellious laugh. And I was trying to change a laugh, ramping up into a scream, and it worked. It was my proudest moment at the whole preview. They laughed when they heard the word shit, and when the shark came out, that laugh sustained itself into a humongous scream, and popcorn went flying. And it was amazing. And it made me greedy. I got so greedy. Because earlier in the movie, when they find Ben Gardner's head in the boat, I hadn't timed it right, and Richard turns around, that's where the head's already there, and there was no reaction from the audience at all. And so I was kind of scratching my head after the preview, and I was really extraordinarily happy. The numbers were the highest numbers in Universal's history, and the executives were all happy. We were all happy. The audience loved the picture. And I was greedy. I said, there's one more scream we can get in this movie if I can figure out this thing with Ben Gardner's head. So, because the studio wouldn't give me any more money, even though they were ecstatic with it, they said, it's fine. Don't fix something that's not broken. The movie works. Don't mess with it, or you'll improve this into a failure. So I went and spent $3,000 of my own money to have some art department people build a balsa wood side of a boat to match the Ben Gardner boat we had shot before, cut a hole in it, and got the same Ben Gardner head, the styrofoam head, latex and styrofoam, and had it underwater. And this time, simply, when the double for Rick came to the hole, I did several timings. I shot it about 9 different ways. One time I shot it, he comes to the hole, and the head comes out. Another time, he comes to the hole, and the head comes out at the same time. Another time, the head comes out, and he's not even in the shot. Another time, the camera goes really close to the knife, taking the tooth out, and the head comes out there. I did it a whole bunch of different ways. And then I went to the dubbing room where we were already, remixing little changes we had made. And I cut it in, and I tried it out on all of the sound effects editors and music editors and the dubbers. And I showed them one way, and they kind of said, that's interesting. It's better than what you had. Another way, no reaction. And then one way, nobody screamed, but they all kind of just like suddenly said, oh, yeah, wow, that surprised me. I didn't expect it. It was simply a matter of timing. And the moment that works the best, which is the moment in the movie that the dubbers reacted to, is the moment where he gets to the hole, and then the head comes out. There's just a bit of a pause. And I just remember we then took the film to Long Beach, at the Lakewood theaters. And we had a second preview there with that extra scene, that extra moment in. And it got a humongous scream. bigger than the scream in Dallas when the shark came out of the water with Roy chumming. And popcorn flew even higher, and people came out of their seats even higher. And I was thrilled until at Lakewood, we got to the scene that got the previous big laugh where the shark comes out of the water when Roy's chumming. And I got a big scream, but it was only 50% or less of the scream we got in Dallas. So when that preview, which is a smash preview, the scores are higher, the studio is flying on cloud nine, that they're going to make a fortune with the movie, they keep saying. And I'm scratching my head thinking, now, what did I do to make that second scream less? And I realized it was a no-brainer. The audience didn't trust me after the first scream at the end of the first act. And they were surprised, and then they were looking out for shadows and things coming out from behind things, and they were defensive and ready for some kind of a shock.